Hello everyone, and welcome to this instruction video on how to set up a simple profile for a shooting game, for example. So here we just try to connect our gloves to the Bluetooth of our PC. As you can see, I have already CaptoGlove 0123 and CaptoGlove 1151 connected, and these are my right and my left. Can be one, can be two, it's up to you. And obviously on how many you have. So these two now are connected, and on my gloves the lights are showing blue, so that means they're fully connected, and now we can move on and go into our suite. So make sure to download the latest suite and the latest firmware from the CaptoGlove website, and let's go on from there. So we open the suite. Now my gloves are automatically connected, otherwise just search them from the bar, the ones that you need. We wait for them to install, to upload, and now they're both connected. This one and this one, both connected. So now, first things we do, we start from our right glove. So our right glove is our mouse. It's going to be our mouse. So from there we're going to move the mouse. We're going to shoot and do the functions, as many functions as possible from our right one. So first thing we do, set up the mouse. So these buttons might not be clicked. We're going to click the mouse so it works. Now the operation mode. These operation modes means that whenever I click these and they are checked, the functions that then I set up here are going to work. If these are unchecked, even if I set up everything here, they're not going to work. So we take the mouse, so we want the mouse to work, and then we go into the setup. Setup, first thing, horizontal. So horizontal, as you can see in the video here, means that when I move my left and right, it must do something. So we want to set up the sensibility to 100, or around that anyway. 100 is the one-to-one movement, so it's going to move the mouse as much as I'm moving my hand. And then here we want to set up the orientation to yaw. So I want to move my hand left and right, and I want the mouse to move left and right accordingly. Then we're going to put vertical here, this one here, and we want it to do the pitch. So if I want the mouse to move up and down, I need to set up pitch. So when I move my hand up and down, also my mouse is going to move up and down. And here as well, we want to set it up to as close to 100. Here we go. Then of course there is the wheel of the mouse. In case someone wants to set up also the wheel, you can set it on the roll if you want, or something like that. Yeah, obviously on the roll, and then you decide the sensibility of it, and then you need to always have this button checked, as you can see, to enable or disable the emulation. So if this is not checked, it's not going to work. Then we have done this part, we have done the mouse. Now the mouse is going to work, and now we just upload it to the glove. By pressing this button here, we are saving these changes we have made directly on the glove. They're not saved anywhere though in our PC. We're going to do that later. So now we're going to go back and we start setting up our fingers. So we check the fingers and we start working on our fingers. So from here we're going to check the overall status of our fingers. Now on my glove I am bending all my fingers, and I can see that they're all correctly working without any issue, and I'm going to press my thumb pressure. So now we can see that all of our fingers are working from here. In case there is trouble with them, you can calibrate them all at once by pressing this button here, or you can select them from here and calibrate them one by one by pressing here. I don't need to do that, but for the purpose of the video I'm going to show you that a test of one, for example. So I'm going to calibrate my thumb bending. So I'm just going to press the calibrate button and follow the instructions. It says to bend the finger, so, and then to release it. So I bend it fully and released it, and now it has calibrated. So now when I release, it's going to 0. When I bend it, it's going to go to 100. Now, what do we need to do? Set up a function for each of our fingers. So what I want to do is to, first of all, check this so we start from the thumb bending and the primary selections. And in this section, we can, for each finger, we can set up 2 different keys based on 2 different bendings. So I'm just going to set up one for my thumb. For my thumb, I want it to, first of all, be enabled. So this means it's going to work. Then to set up a trigger range, let's say I wanted to activate when I bend my finger from 78 exactly and to 100. So when my finger bends enough for this bar to reach 78, the function is going to activate, and so it's going to do the key that I'm going to set up. In this case, I'm going to set up my hand to do, in this case, I wanted to do W key. So I'm just going to press the W key on my keyboard, and here it's selected keyboard. So now whenever I bend my finger to 78 or 100, it's going to do the W key. In the trigger settings, I'm going to set it at 0. This means that whenever I keep it pressed, he's going to do an infinite number of W's. So it's like I'm holding the W key. If I set it up to 1, even if I'm holding, he's going to press the W key only once. And this is the same for all these functions. So if I put it to 16, even if I keep it bent, when I keep it bent, it's going to do a max of 16 W's. So we want to set it at 0 because we want to walk forward. So we're going to set it at 0. So it's going to do an infinite number of zeros. Back to trigger functions. So our thumb is done. Then we're going to set up our index. Our index is going to be obviously the trigger of our gun. So we're going to set mouse, press the mouse, and our left button of the mouse, because that's usually where the firing is. So I'm going to set this one around 80 to 100 as well, because I want to bend my finger a lot to be sure to shoot. And then check the trigger settings, obviously put it to 0 as well. And then this one obviously enabled. So now we have our left button, it triggers when it's at 80 to 100 and it's enabled. Next one, our thumb pressure. Our thumb pressure in this case could be, I'm not gonna really set up a thumb pressure for now. Then we have our middle bending. For middle bending, what I usually put is like the heal myself. So let's see what function it is on, for example, PUBG. The medkit, for example, is 7. So I'm going to set it keyboard and D7. So I just press the 7 key on my keyboard. So now, and this is how CaptoGlove suite saves it. So as D7. So now I have enabled it 80 to 100. So when I bend my middle finger and when it reaches 80 to 100, it's going to do our healing. I can set this one to trigger only once because that's what I need. I don't need it to press it more times. And I guess this is done for the middle bending. Our ring bending, we can do the first 8, so number 8. Again, 80 to 100. Numbers, keyboard, and 8. Then for the last one, and obviously key trigger enabled, pinky bending, 80 to 100, keyboard, 9. Let's double check. Yes, correct. Okay, so for our right glove, I guess this is it. So we're just going to upload it. Now it is saved on the glove. Let's remember this. And yeah, this is done for our right glove for now. Then we will move to our left one. So we just pressed on this side. We don't need the mouse ticked here because the mouse movement is done all by the right. What we're going to need on this one though is the input axis. Now, what does input axis mean? Input axis is you can assign to different movements of the hand, you can assign a function to it. So, for example, here we have roll. So if I'm rolling my hand, now I'm rolling my hand right, and now I'm rolling my hand left. As you can see, this bar is moving. This is when my hand is totally straight. So I can assign to this movement, for example, the strafe left and right of my character. So A and D of the keyboard usually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up that when I move here from -24, let's say even more, -40, yeah, I would say 40 to 80, I want it to go left. So I'm going to set up to be A. So 40 to 80, go left, so the A key. In this case, we're going to set up a secondary for the roll because we want to move to the right as well. So we're going to set up a secondary, key trigger enabled. Same thing around 40 to 80, even more. And these numbers can be different, it doesn't matter. I mean, just one is a very small degree of movement. So in this case, we have set it to D. So when I move my hand to the right, I'm going right. When I roll it to the left, I'm going to go to the left. And this is for the left one. So imagine you're holding two hands, one close to each other. You strafe left and right to go left and right. And your right hand, in the meanwhile, is aiming around with the mouse. So in this case, we're strafing with our left and right. Save this configuration. So primary left, secondary to the right. We could also set up to go forward and backwards to this movement. We could do it, for example, on the pitch. So by moving our hands up and down, we could set it to be moving up, forward and backwards. To do this, we will need to put advanced settings and set up the sensor mounting to vertical, so it knows that our hand is actually in a vertical position and not in an horizontal position. Save this configuration. Back into input axis, and now from our video, we're going to see that our pitch. This is when I hold it straight, and up and down, the bar is going to move. I'm not going to set it up. I have my forward done off by the thumb bending. That's how I like it. I just like to do the strafe left and right. So again, we have our roll being from A to 80 to 100, and the primary 40 to 100. And we save this. Let's go back. And now we're going to set up our fingers. So check the fingers, check the input axis, and here we go. So we start from the thumb bending. Thumb bending, same thing as we did for the right, 80 to 100, key trigger enabled. What function we're going to put here? We can put, for example, thumb bending, I could have my sprint. So the left shift, we're going to set up left shift. So we press on keyboard, the left shift on the keyboard, and now we have saved our left shift. The next one, thumb pressure. On this one, we are going to set up a thumb pressure. We're going to put the walk, for example. What is it? Yeah, left control, walking. We go back into the suite, keyboard, left control. Next one, index bending. And our index bending in this case is going to be, I usually like to have the crouch. So here we're going to set up keyboard and press C. middle bending. Let's put it like this, better. Yes, middle bending is going to be our prone. Sorry, in middle bending I usually put interact button, which feels easy to press. Trigger settings over 0. Okay. Then we move into our ring bending. Our ring bending is going to be the prone. And then our pinky bending. Here I usually put my jump. But in this case, we are going to put jumping on acceleration in just a moment. So in this case, we are going to put, let's see what else we can put here. Actually, no, we are going to put jump on this case. So we're just going to press the spacebar, go back, upload to our glove, and move to the next. So we're moving into acceleration. Acceleration. So in acceleration, as you can see from this picture, I can set up functions to accelerations going up and down, left or right, forward and backward. So if I accelerate my hand up and down, you will see that this bar is moving. So now, right now, I'm just shaking my hand up and down. We're going to calibrate this to see how much I shake, and it's going to give me a trigger range based on how much I want to shake. So I'm just going to do a small shake. And now he has calibrated that this should be how much I want it. I'm just going to put it less. I wanted to activate earlier. So this is up and down. In this up and down, I want to do the reload of my gun because I like to show it like if I'm putting back the magazine inside the gun. So I'm just gonna reload with shaking my left hand. So here and press R. R is the reload button. Another one we are going to do is forward and backward, calibrate. And in this one, set the keyboard key trigger enabled. I want to put my grenades because I want to emulate the movement of throwing a grenade forward. So when I'm going to launch my hand forward, I am going to use the grenade. So the G button of my keyboard. So I've set up most of the functions that I need. This is going to allow me to play, definitely. So one mistake, for example, let's check back if all our key triggers are enabled. Forward and backward, up and down, yet they are. Left and right, nothing wrong there. We are going to go back. Input axis, we have seen they are enabled. Primary and secondary. Let's go back again. Fingers, pinky, thumb pressure, thumb bending, middle, ring, pinky. They're all set up correctly. They're all enabled. Upload. For the right, we had already checked. And now we check acceleration here. That's what we were missing. Upload. And now our glove is set up and working for PUBG with the settings. But if I'm going to make some changes, this profile is not going to be saved. So what do we need to do here? We need to save this profile because I want to use it some other time. So you save it in whatever folder you want. This is my profiles folders, for example, on my PC. And I'm going to rename this PUBG example. Example profile. So now we have our saved profile, which is saved, exactly. And now whatever changes I'm going to make, I can always come back if I want to play PUBG again. Come back, load the profile, PUBG is right here, double click, and he's going to put all these settings that we have just done back inside the glove. When you're ready to go inside the game, all you need to do just press the start emulation button, which is either the K key on your keyboard, or by just pressing the button right here on the suite. So I'm just going to press it, and you will see that on your gloves the status lights have turned green. That means that the emulation is on and that your gloves are working and ready to get you into the fight. So I hope this video is helpful, and hope to see you soon inside any game using your CaptoGloves. Bye bye.